So this is Precalculus functions quiz, and this is number 3 on the quiz. And here's version A, B, C, and D of the quiz number 3. So I'm going to go over all of them. I'm going to start with version A of the quiz. Number 3 in version A had these two expressions to simplify. So let's start with this one. Okay, so we have 6x cubed y to the negative 2 power divided by 12x to the negative 3 y squared, parentheses around that expression, cubed to the power of 3. Okay, so what do our exponent, the properties of exponents allow us to do? Well, we know that we have this expression in parentheses, so this cubed can move to every single term in our expression, right? Or we can start by simplifying first, and that will make things much easier. So let's first look at how to simplify this. So we could look and break this up and say, how do we simplify 6 over 12? Since everything's being multiplied and divided, we can separate it like this, right? So 6 divided by 12 is the same as 1 divided by 2. You could multiply in here 1 over 6 and 1 over 6. That's like multiplying by 1. And then these cancel out, and this cancels out and makes 2. So we're left with x cubed y to the negative 2 power over 2x to the negative 3y squared. Okay, where did I put the 1? Well, I could write 1, or I could leave it out because that's implicitly there. It's like invisible. Okay, so all I did was simplify the 6 over 12, and I got over 2 instead. Okay, now notice the similar variables. So we have x cubed in the numerator and x to the negative 3 in the denominator. Okay, so let me deal with all the negative powers of any variable. So we have x cubed is positive, so that can stay there. Y to the negative 2. Well, I know if something is in the numerator, so y to the negative 2, let's just say over 1, I can push that to the denominator. I can just push it like this if I change the negative 2 into a positive 2. So let's do that. So I get x cubed over 2. Okay, so I get again a negative x cubed as a power, so I can change that from 1 over x to the negative 3, and I can push it above by changing the power from negative to positive. So let me push this one up. So I'm pushing this one up, and then I have y squared. So this 2 and y squared are already there, and I'm pushing this y to the negative 2 down. Okay, and don't forget I still have this whole thing cubed. Okay, now if I have the same base, I can add the exponents. So I'm going to have x 3 plus 3 power over 2 times y, again same base, I can add the exponents. And again, don't forget the power outside is this expression is still being cubed. Okay, so x 3 to the 3 plus 3 power is x to the 6 power over 2y, 2 plus 2 is 4, cubed. Okay, now I can distribute that cubed to every term inside. So that's going to be x6 cubed over 2 cubed times y to the 4th cubed. Okay, so I'm basically making everything inside cubed. Okay, when I multiply, when I have x to the 6th power, that to the 3rd power, that's like multiplying 6 and 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, so that's 8. And again, y to the 4th power to the 3rd power is 4 times 3, so that's y to the 12th. Okay, and here I simplified my expression and I'm done. Okay, so that is part A. So now let's do part B in this first one. So let me get rid of A, and let's move on to B. Okay, so 2x cubed times square root of 16x to the 4th. Okay, so many people are okay with square root of 16 equals to 4. So why is this true? Remember, because we can multiply 4 times 4 and we get 16, right? So let me rewrite this. 2x cubed stays there, and we have the square root of 4 times 4, right? X to the 4th. Okay, so that's how we, since we have two of these inside the square root being multiplied, we can pull one out, or pull them both out, and they become 1, right? So it's 2x cubed times 4 square root of x to the 4th. Well, can we do that with x to the 4th? What times itself equals x to the 4th? We still have 2x cubed. Well, if you think about it, x squared times x squared equals x to the 4th, right? Because we're adding the powers. So we can do that, and they are the same, so we can pull them both out of the square root and have only one left. So we have 2x cubed times 4x squared. And now we can just multiply across, because these are all being multiplied together. So 2 times 4 is 8. X cubed times x squared, remember we're going to add the exponent, so it's x to the 5th. Okay, so this is part B in number 3 of version A. So I know it's kind of confusing, but this is number 3 in version A, because there were A, B, C, and D versions of the quiz. Okay, so the next 3 I'm going to go over a little more faster. So let's see. So now let's look at version B of the quiz, 3, part A. So here we have 2x squared y to the negative 3 over 8x to the negative 2y cubed. And we have all of that cubed, right? So first I'm going to simplify 2 over 8. I know that's 1 over 4. And I'm going to make any negative power change from the denominator to the numerator, or numerator to the denominator, and make it positive. So the x squared is already positive. The x to the negative 2, I'm going to move up to make it positive. Y to the negative 3, I'm going to move down to make it positive. And y to the 3 is already positive, right? Sorry, these are exponents. And this is cubed. So 1 times x squared is, we add the exponents with the same base, so it's x to the 4th over 4y cubed times y cubed. Again, we add the exponents, is y to the 6th cubed. Okay, we distribute this cubed, so it's x to the 4th cubed over 4 cubed times y to the 6th cubed. And we just multiply the exponents, so 4 times 3 is 12. 4 cubed is 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. We can use our calculator to verify. And y to the 6th to the 3rd is 6 times 3 is 18, so it's y to the 18th power. And this is our answer for part A in version B of the quiz. Okay, so let's go on to part B of version B of the quiz. Okay, so it's 3x to the 5th times square root of 25x to the 4th. Okay, so this is equal to 3x to the 5th. We know square root of 25 we can pull out and make that 5. X to the 4th, well, x squared times x squared is equal to x to the 4th, so we can pull that out of the square root. And now we're just multiplying across. 5 times 3 is 15. X to the 5th times x squared, we just add the exponents, it's x to the 7th. And that's the answer for part B of number 3 on version B. Okay, so now let's look at version C of this quiz. Version C, part A, so it's 3x squared y to the negative 3 over 2x to the negative 1 y cubed. Okay, so that's equal to, so we can't simplify 3 halves. X squared, I'm going to bring up x to the 1. So it's going to be up here. I'm going to add the powers. I'm going to just do this in one step there. Y to the negative 3, I'm going to push down. So I'm going to multiply y cubed times y cubed and add the power. So it's y to the 6 cubed. Okay. Now I'm going to cube every term. So 3 cubed is 27. X cubed cubed, we multiply the exponent, so it's x to the 9. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Y to the 6 cubed is y to the 6 times 3 power is y to the 18th power. Okay, and this is simplified right here. And we're done with part A of version C of number 3 on the quiz. Okay, so let's look at part B. Part B, we have 6x cubed times square root of 4x to the 6. Okay, so we have 6x cubed on the left. Now let's deal with the square root. Well, I know 2 times 2 is 4, so I can take that out of the square root. X cubed times x cubed is x to the 6, so I can take that out as well. Okay, now I just multiply across. I get 12x, add the exponents to the 6, and I'm done with part B. Okay, so finally, let's look at the version D of this quiz. And let's start with looking at part A. So 2xy to the negative 3 over 3x to the negative 2y cubed. All of that cubed. Okay, so again, I want to simplify and look at each term. So the negative 2 on the bottom, I'm going to bring up. I know that no power means, no visible power means it's an invisible 1 there. It's implicit. So that's going to be x to the 1 power times x to the positive 2 power up here. So I'm going to add the exponents and get x cubed. This negative 3 exponent is going to drop this and make it a positive. So I'm going to y cubed times y cubed. I'm going to get y 3 plus 3 is 6, right? And I'm going to cube all of this. That's going to make every term in here cubed. So it's going to be 2 cubed is 8. X cubed cubed is to the power of 9 because we multiply. 3 cubed is 27. Y to the 6 cubed is multiply 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, so here is the answer to part A, right there. Okay, so finally, let's look at part B. Part B, right here, is 3x to the 5th times square root of 9x to the 4th. Okay, so 3x to the 5th, well, we know square root of 9 is 3. Square root of x to the 4th, well, x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. So then we just multiply those across. We get 9x. We add the exponents to the 7th. And that is part B. So this ends number 3 in all 4 versions of the quiz.